Alrighty, what is up, y'all? Spencer K here. I am here with Judd and Benji as per usual for, I think, the third attempt at an episode 4 for the TK podcast. Last two attempts, we won't point fingers, it was me. Did not get edited in time, and just the stories we were talking about or what we tried to do just didn't really fit with current events anymore because I took too long. Just life, man. Two of us are parents once again. So much going on in our lives. We're trying to have fun with this, but finding the time is tough. Actually, funny enough, we have tried to make, how many sessions in the last couple of months to try to get one of these recorded? Yet, most of the time we get together, we choose drinking and driving on American Truck Simulator over recording the podcast. So, yeah, we're glad to be here. Hopefully this gets edited, and hopefully we're a little bit more consistent. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. Talking about our future plans, as well as we're going to start out with recent releases for video games, and then followed up by upcoming video games here in the month of February, as we normally do. And then going to kind of just wrap it up with what we're most excited for in 2026. What crazy hopes, predictions do we have? What games we may or may not want to see? Just anything that could happen in the gaming world in 2026, I guess we're going to kind of give our predictions. And if there's stuff already announced, maybe talk about it. We'll get into that here in a little bit. I guess starting off, the big thing is the podcast plans. We don't know. We're kind of talking about it together here. Are we trying to do like short episodes where we just, hard hit a single game for like a review or like a deep dive or like, hey, I hate this game? Or are we looking forward to just or talking about like Call of Duty? Do we just dive into the Call of Duty franchise, talk about like our history? I don't know, something like that. We're kind of flirting with that idea. Of course, we still got all the drama, upcoming games, gaming news and stuff that we would like to talk about, but just kind of a work in progress. I guess we'll see what we could do, what we like to do, what you guys end up liking. So far, I've been the one editing the videos, but obviously, if this is our third attempt at episode 4, I don't have that much time to do it, or I'm not that great at it. So maybe Benji will help me out. We're kind of just figuring it all out here still. So I guess work with us. But the big thing for TK, and I'm looking forward to this. This is probably my favorite time of the year for TK. I almost want to do it on my personal account just because I think it is so much fun. But we'll do it on TK because it's where all of our friends are and a lot of people know. Kind of a neutral account. TK March Madness. The last 2 years, we've done a March Madness bracket of 64 of our favorite games. We just all make our top 8. 8 people make their top 8 favorite games. We let everyone, friends, random people that find us, vote on what the best game is, their favorite game is. And at the end of March, we have a crowned winner of TK March Madness. Last 2 years, we did favorite games. This year, we're going to do least favorite games. And I've been going out and asking a ton of people, friends, randoms. I've been on Reddit. I've been in a ton of Discords, mutuals, even family members that game. Pretty much anyone we can get a hold of that will give me an answer. Hey, what are your top 5 least favorite games? And a lot of them are going to shock you. I don't want to get too much into it now. I look forward to that next month in March. Just know it's around the corner. But there are some games that I would personally consider, possibly Hall of Fame, as well as some Game of the Year contenders and winners that people just did not see the hype for and absolutely despised. And I'm just saying some of them got enough votes to crack this top 64-man bracket. Now, I am going to rank it so that, the games with the most votes as disliked are going to be like your 1 and 2 seed, and then the games that like barely snuck in will be your 64 seed. So they'll probably be a first-round exit, let's be real. But still, the fact they got nominated is absolutely insane. I'm laughing just thinking of some of these games. So look forward to that. But with that, man, I guess it should be mentioned as well. We are trying to find more members and just think of content and like reviews and stuff, like friends of friends. If anyone out there listening would be interested in reviews or just talking gaming or just joining our sessions, man, we have a lot of sessions where we just game and just mess around like we were talking about. We get drunk and play American Truck Simulator, just goofy stuff like that. If that's would interest you, comment, let us know. We'd absolutely be open to that. The more the merrier. The more people we have online to play and do sessions with, I'd love to do Jackbox or something, right? Get a big group on Jackbox. That would be insane. But with that, I will stop rambling. I'm going to pass it over to Judd. He's got our upcoming games. Or sorry, no, he's got recent releases that have come out in January and February up to today. February 16th. Games up to February 16th so far. All right, I'll let you go, Judd.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I hope you're all doing all right. I'm doing great. I hope y'all are doing fantastic. So right now, I'm going to hit us with the January and February recent releases, and we're starting out with Quarantine Zone: The Last Check, Eldegard, High Guard, The Seven Deadly Sins Origin, Code Vein 2, PUBG Blind Spot, Dragon Quest VII Reimagined. I'm sorry, that's 7 for those of you who don't know Roman numerals, including myself. Super Bomberman Collection, Unemployment Simulator 2018, My Hero Academia, All's Justice, Neo 3, Eugenics, Reloaded, Disciples Domination, God of War, Sons of Sparta, Mario Tennis Fever, High on Life 2, and Rayman 30th Anniversary Edition. What of these games have we played and what are our thoughts? And I'm gonna start out with Benji here.
Oh man. Really not a whole lot of these games I've played so far besides Quarantine Zone. I have played Quarantine Zone: The Last Check. Just recently started uploading that on my channel, getting episode 2 edited. So far I love the game. It's just fun deciding people's fates during the start of the apocalypse. Someone comes up to your quarantine zone, you check them out, make sure they're not infected, and you can kind of decide, do you go to the survivor zone or do you get sent to the butcher block? Really fun. A bit of actually like gameplay to it. Not only just like figuring out multiple different ways to figure out if a survivor is infected, but then you also got to defend your base. You also got to keep all your survivors healthy and happy, and it's really slow building at first, but definitely fun. But other than that, any of these other games have not played or even remotely thought about. Only Quarantine Zone. That's about it.
So from that list, let's see here. I've played a total of zero of these games, unfortunately, but I have seen a bunch of streamers play Quarantine Zone: The Last Check. I've watched a streamer called Fatnap play it. I've watched Queso play it. I think it looks really fun and interesting and stuff. More of a game that I would watch people play than anything, for myself personally. But I like viewing a lot of video game content. I'm more of a viewer, and I play my select few games that I enjoy. But something that did catch my eye was PUBG Blind Spot. Since its release, I've seen reels about it on like Instagram, and I've checked it out a bit myself. And it's basically isometric Rainbow Six Siege. So it completely changes, like, it doesn't change a whole lot in the form of like what a siege type game is. You're still entering and trying to secure a position in a building, secure hostage, whatever the goal is. Uh, but you're just in a top-down scenario with basically blind sense. You can't see past a certain distance, or you can see things in front of you, but you can't see things behind you, and so on and so forth. So yeah, it looks really good. I'm actually just added it to my library, so I'm going to try it out probably in the next day or two because it's free to play.
I,
Um, yeah, other than that, I don't really think I've checked anything out. The only other thing I've seen anything about is Relooted, and I will steer clear of that game.
I was gonna say the PUBG Blind Spot kind of looks like a Rainbow Six Siege version of Project Zomboid, if that's fair in a way. It kind of I don't know. It's
Yeah,
obviously
yeah.
different. It's a survival game versus like a tactical shooter, but the top down, like it kind of that's kind of what I get. It's just kind of neat.
Yeah, yeah, you actually have to like peek corners and stuff. You don't just immediately see everything that's in a room and whatnot. Your character has to see it for you to see it.
For me, High Guard Game of the Year. It's the greatest game to ever. I'm just kidding, nah, dude. It's funny because like there's a lot of these games I've been following. I've been watching Benji play Quarantine Zone. That looks like a game that I need to play because I'm not going to take it serious at all. It's just shoot people in the face that don't deserve it. I, it's hard for me to take
I
those
like
games
it.
serious, but I like they're so much fun. I've heard a lot about obviously High Guard and Reloaded have had their controversies. High Guard when it launched, a massive, massive player count within only a couple hours. I mean, it has tanked and it has not even gotten close back up to what it was the first couple of days. And obviously, there's that whole conversation to be had. We're not here to talk about that today. We're just here to talk about 2026 as a whole. But interesting to follow. And then Reloaded, another very controversial game that we may talk about next episode. We're kind of debating on it. Of course, anytime you talk about a controversial game, it has its risks. But yeah, Judd showed me PUBG Blind Spot. That looks interesting. Just kind of like that Siege top-down-ish style game. It's not really something I've ever played, but I'd be willing to give it a shot. Unemployment Simulator sounds. I've never heard of that until we looked up like games that have released so far this year. Unemployment Simulator 2018, but on PC. That sounds hilarious as hell. Like, I want to play that now. Like, yeah, okay, once the session's over, I may go play that. That's funny as hell. I don't know why.
What an interesting game.
Yeah, what do you do? Like, I like those simulators. If you've seen, I play a lot of the goofy simulators. I'm trying to get reviews out for them just because I have a lot of fun. I don't take them serious. That's like the fun part of it. But other than that, no, I haven't played any. Well, High on Life 2, man. If you follow me on Twitter, leave me alone. I am trying to enter in every giveaway possible for High on Life 2. I could just buy it, I guess, but I'm being lazy. And then Mugenics. Not a game I see myself playing in the near future, but that is an indie game that absolutely blew up. I mean, within hours of it coming out, what did they have? Like 750,000 copies sold, or some ridiculous number. I mean, that game absolutely blew up. But fortunately, I haven't played anything yet. We're going to talk about what games we have played so far this year in just later in the episode, not just a little bit. But I've kind of been going through like a, what do you call it? A throwback year, I guess. I started the year off by playing a lot of games from like 2015 to 2017. It's kind of the theme of 2026. Everyone's been talking about taking it back to 2016, and that's kind of what I've been doing. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, with that, Benji's got upcoming games that are coming out here soon.
All right, so games we got coming up for this year. We got Strange Brew coming out the 18th, Killing Stone also coming out the 18th, Demon Tides coming out the 19th, Love Eternal coming out the 19th. It's all in February. Neva Prologue, I hope that's how you say it. I can't read English. Also coming out the 19th. Oh, this is a big word. What is that? Paranormal Sight, The Mermaid's Curse coming out the 19th. That's a mouthful. Styx, Blade of Greed coming out the 19th. Yais X, Proud Nordics. Sure, we'll go with that. That sounds right. Gax coming out the 20th. Rise of Piracy coming out the 24th. Tides of Tomorrow. I feel like I've heard about this game. Kind of excited for that. I think if it's what I'm thinking of, coming out the 24th. Tales of, what is that? Barassyria? Sure, that sounds right. Remastered. I can't read English. I failed English. Coming out the 26th. Lysara? Summit Kingdom coming out the 27th. And Resident Evil Requiem coming out the 27th. All in February.
I will apologize if there's a little bit of lag. I am suffering from internet issues. I think there's like one or two games where it kind of sounded robotic, but we're working through that. So hopefully in an episode or two that'll be gone. But I think everything got through for you.
It's 50-50. We'll make it work.
What out of these games are you guys excited for? I think honestly for me, I don't think I've necessarily really seen too much anything. I have seen a little bit about the new Resident Evil game. I haven't played any Resident Evils, so I probably should play the other ones first. But if I'm gonna do that, but Benji, what about you?
I'm with you on this one. Resident Evil is about the only one I'm kind of excited for. I have played Resident Evil's Biohazard and Village. Liked both of them. I have not played any other Resident Evil. Well, I have played one, like Resident Evil 6, but that was a long time ago. Don't remember what happened in it, and kind of excited to hopefully this game is kind of gonna play just like, I mean, I know it's not, but I'm hoping it does play like Resident Evil Village or Biohazard. Really like those games. Those games were awesome, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna follow alongside the Resident Evil remakes they've been doing. Resident Evil, I think just 2, 3, and 4 is what they've remade so far. But looking at these other games, I don't really think I've heard any of them besides Styx Blades of Greed. About the only other one I've heard of, but just that heard of, not seen or known anything about. But I mean, kind of shows that I'm not really in. Sadly, I'm not into the gaming news that much anymore, so I'm not really catching up on all these new games coming out. But just Resident Evil, that's about it. Spence, what about you?
You know
Give
what?
me your input.
I think
Give
it's
me
going to
your
be
thoughts.
a great month for me to catch up on my backlog because, yeah, I agree. There's nothing that I'm super interested. There's a couple of anime-ish style of games that you just listed there. Actually, I'd say probably about half of them kind of lean towards the anime style. And you guys know me, I'm not super duper duper big into anime. Don't hate it. I've just, never really gotten into it. So nothing spectacular there. But, it's not bad. You need a month off every now and then to kind of catch up on the backlog. Like I mentioned, I've already kind of been doing a throwback, going back playing some games that came out, about a decade ago that I either, didn't complete, I missed, or I hated, and I'm giving a second chance. I'll get into that in a second, but what games have you guys been playing to start off your 2026? I kind of already know the answer because you guys have suckered me into a couple of them. But
Valheim.
yeah, I was gonna say both. Like Valheim's
Valheim.
probably gonna be the number one answer for both you guys.
Yeah, I let like in the last 2 weeks alone, I've put 97 hours into Valheim. So
I was gonna
I
say
think I definitely have been into Valheim.
that doesn't sound like a lot to a lot of gamers, but full-time job. Some of us have kids. Getting 100 hours in 2 weeks ain't easy, man. That is something that is not to be
100
brushed
hours
off.
in 2 weeks is a new record at this point in age.
Yeah.
Judd is the one without kids, so it makes sense that he's pushing 100 hours in 2 weeks. But
Woohoo!
I don't think me and Benji could do
Yeah.
that combined right now.
Yeah, no, definitely, I agree. Definitely Valheim. Valheim, Jed and I are both excited for. We looked at a bunch of mods together, not what was like a week ago. So many mods. I know he's playing with some of them, and I'm excited. I'm excited to finish my playthrough whenever that may be, maybe in 2 years from now, and to try out some of those mods. But really, off the top of my head right now, there's not many other games that yeah, no, honestly, just Valheim.
Well, we know you did a couple episodes on the Quarantine Zone, and you had a couple other games on your channel this year to kind of spice it up.
No, that never happened. Fake news.
He's like, I'm deleting the videos now.
Erasing the evidence.
There will be no proof.
No, you're right. But I have had some other games. I mean, I need to go back and catch up on them. I got Quarantine Zone, The Mortuary Assistant, Hellmart. Yeah, I mean, to be all honest, yeah, those kind of really started out my year. And they're all games I need to go back, finish, and hopefully I don't poop my pants when I play The Mortuary Assistant. Because I can tell you what, at one point I got so scared I had to turn down my headset because I was just too much of a little girl. I couldn't do it.
Well,
I had to turn down my headset so it wasn't big and scary.
let me fill you guys. Maybe Benji will be nice enough and get us a picture here, but let's fill you in on Benji's game room. Benji's not, just playing casually in his living room or in a second bedroom, right, with his, family right there. No, this dude's got a fucking like chainsaw murderer shed out in his backyard that he's like turned into a fucking game room. Like it looks straight out of a horror movie, when they're like, hey, there's a car right here with the keys in it and full tank of gas. Do you go left and escape the killer, or do you run into Benji's game room and hide? Like that's kind of what he got. You'll have to get a picture. It's funny. So you're playing like a very scary game out in the middle of your backyard shed. It's got to be scary, dude. I couldn't do it.
And it's worse when you're inside here. There's no windows, and you forget. Oh yeah, it's dark and scary outside, and you just got done playing a nice long horror session. You go back out there, and you're like, I gotta run to the house. I ain't walking. We're playing this like kids. You turn off the lights, and you're running. You're jumping on that bed. They can't get me.
Yeah, dude plays.
But now it's outside, and you gotta walk 20 feet. Yeah. No.
It plays a serial killer game, and then he's gotta walk outside in the middle of the night back to his house. It's a nice game room. He's got it decked out on the inside, but yeah, it's just the location of it's got to be kind of creepy.
Oh yeah, I've seen pictures of that, and I could not imagine playing a scary game and then having to walk in between that. I would feel like I'm gonna get children of the corn.
Yeah.
Mind you, it's all self-invoked. No one's forcing me to do this. I'm doing it to myself.
He loves it. He just loves the pain, the horror.
Doing it for the love of the game.
Yeah. He's like, I got a comfy third bedroom, but I just refuse to use it. No. I was gonna say the start of my year has been interesting because I've been playing recent games like Pal World. Obviously, I got my Minecraft modded Minecraft series going, but it's 1.12.2 that I've been mostly playing on. NASCAR 25, I got a series going on. Civilization 6, I got a series going on. I've been looking at a couple of reviews for games I won't mention yet, but I think the big one has been I've revisited The Division, Tom Clancy, The Division, the first one. Which I didn't know if I ever would. I got tricked by my best friend to buy this game brand new, day one. I bought it the day it came out. And long story short, and most of the community will agree with me, this game, it's a Ubisoft game. So you can imagine, not great day one. It pissed me off. I rage quit. I damn near took it back. I uninstalled it. I just shelved it, but I damn near returned it. I hated it. I'm thinking about doing a review on it in the future. Just, day one versus what it is now, and it's still not perfect. There's a lot of things that just drive me up a wall about this game, but the story, The Division has a good story to an extent. I think the setup's insane, right? There's this game came out like 2016ish. It could have been late 2015. I can't remember the exact year, but around 2016. And the whole concept of The Division is there's a pandemic, essentially. There's a massive pandemic being spread around by currency, like just money. That's basically how it spreads. And this is like 4 years, 4 or 5 years before COVID, which obviously came out in 2020 and we all dealt with. But it is kind of eerie because this game about a pandemic and how there's some similarities. Obviously, New York didn't turn into a complete free-for-all, and you got these federal agents running around gunning people down, gangs down and stuff. But it is kind of interesting, playing it for the first time in 2016 and not touching it for a decade, and in between that time there was a global pandemic. I don't know, it's kind of like watching like Maze Runner and stuff, right? You remember when Maze Runner came out, and then that whole movie kind of revolved around their pandemic, and it's just kind of interesting what we thought a pandemic would be like before it happened versus now. I don't know, it's an interesting game. I think it deserves a review. It's not my favorite game, but I'm having fun with it.
That's all that matters, though, ain't it?
Yep. You know what? Also, I got to mention, I've been playing a lot of College Football 26. My almost 4-month-old daughter absolutely loves College Football 26. I think it's the colors, but I got a wide receiver named Randy Marsh, mustache and all. Dude's about to graduate college as a senior and get drafted to Madden 26 in the NFL. I love that you can do that. I know you guys aren't big into sports games, but maybe go back a year or two. Well, if you want to do college, you have to go back to 25 because that's the year they brought it back. But if you get college 25, Madden 25, you can probably pick both games up for like $20-$30 now since they're over a year old, almost 2 years old. And
right,
you can create your own college guy, send him through college, play college ball, and then you can actually upload him to this Madden and draft him in the NFL. And it's the coolest thing ever. It's a lot of fun because you can make goofy characters and try to go first round or fall out of the first round, and then I got drafted to the Denver Broncos as Eric Cartman, my first time. Eric Cartman from, just outside of Denver, Colorado, going back to Denver to play for the Broncos. I think that's hilarious, dude. And of course, I made him a 350-pound running back because why wouldn't you make Eric Cartman a big fat dude running the ball? I have fun with those games. I know they're cookie cutter every year. They're terrible games. College football is a little better than Madden in my opinion, but it's just copy and paste every year. Basically a full price roster update. But I have fun with it, I will admit. But with that's kind of taken up my 2026. Not a lot of recent games that have just come out within the last 6 months. NASCAR 25 probably being the only one I can think of. With that, I guess we'll move right into what games are we most excited for in 2026. We got a lot of games announced this year. A lot to be announced as well. So we're going to, let's just combine it. One of the other questions or prompts that I had for this episode, not only are we most excited for, but what crazy hopes and predictions do you guys have? Do you think GTA 6 will release this year? Or do you think we're going to end up waiting another year?
About 2 more years before GTA 6.
Yeah, I think we got at least another year.
I
they
think I
gotta go
got.
for the three-peat on the Game Awards show for most anticipated game of the year.
I'll probably pop out baby number 2 by then. I think. Yeah, for sure.
Oh
Baby number
God.
2. First kid will be in kindergarten, so I think we got time. I got time.
Yeah. Honestly, the what I'm looking forward to most, to hear anything about. I hope we get this is beyond hope. This is like copium at this point, but I want to hear something about Elder Scrolls 6. I really do. I hope to God we hear something about Elder Scrolls 6. I'm also looking forward to and having a bit of hopium for hearing any sort of news about Alien Isolation 2. For the 10th anniversary that happened back on October 7th of 2024, the dev team, Creative Assembly, actually released a message on the 10th anniversary of Alien Isolation, and said that they were working on the Alien Isolation 2. Since then, they have not released any sort of information about AI2. So I don't know if we're going to hear anything. It was probably super early in the development cycle when they released that message. So we might not hear anything for another 2 to 4 years. Who knows? We know that these dev cycles are pretty long for these games. Alien Isolation was a massive undertaking and it took a lot of effort and it was really well done for what it was. I don't know the full dev cycle of that game, but I really, really hope that we hear something soon. Maybe an update or something like that. Another one that I kind of didn't really mention earlier, but I have hopes that it comes out this year is Turok Origins. That's the new Turok game that's coming out, and I haven't seen too much about it. They quit posting back in October, but recently they have started posting again on their main account on X, Twitter. So hopefully we hear some more stuff from them about a possible release date for that, because I am excited. I love the Turok series.
Nothing this year. Next year, I am excited. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I just looked it up. Everything I'm seeing still says for 2027, but I am excited for The Witcher 4. I love the Witcher series. Got really into it. I'm really hoping they just kind of hit us with a shadow drop and just release it this year or give us like a demo this year or something. I'm excited for it. I'm really excited. That's about it. I got nothing else. Nothing else this year that I
There's
can think
nothing
of.
this
GTA
year.
6, but
I'm shocked at that. We may have
At
to
the
force this
current
man
moment-
to go through the list.
At the current moment, I can't think of anything at the top of my head. I think I probably said something the last time we did an episode, but at the current moment, no, nothing this year. Try me again next year. I got you though.
I mean, it's fair because
What do you?
well, the problem is there's so many games that are undated still. Like they don't have an official release date, so in theory, a lot of them should be this year, but we just don't know for sure. So I guess yeah, a lot of the games just haven't been announced. For me, there's a lot, man. Obviously, like I said, I'm big into the sports games. I'm probably gonna get suckered into college football 27 and Madden 27. I've made Randy Marsh and I've made Eric Cartman, so I got to go and make like either Stan Marsh or Kyle Broflowski now and put him as quarterback. And just get him drafted in the NFL or something fun. I just mess around on those games. Me and my girlfriend also absolutely love MLB The Show. Fortunately, there's always drama with games that come out nowadays, right? I don't know why. But with MLB, it is kind of deserved. The fan base is pissed because the graphics, the game, when I say sports games are a copy and paste, at least Madden does a little bit of changing. If you go back, 5-6 years to Madden 20, Madden 2019, Madden 21, the graphics have changed a little bit. The movement and stuff has changed a little bit throughout the years. With the MLB series, it is the most blatant copy and paste. Actually, some people think it's a downgrade. There have been some screenshots or some footage that has come out, like a trailer for the game, and fans are kind of mad. Like, this is what we're getting. So we still love it. I don't know if I'll buy that full price, but we love putting it on easy mode and just hitting absolute ding. My girlfriend will play MLB The Show. I don't know how many people have girlfriends that'll play MLB The Show, but we have fun playing it. Another one, going to be NASCAR 26. I don't think that's even been announced yet, but I know Dale Jr., has posted they are looking for songs for NASCAR 26 for their next NASCAR entry into the video game series. And as you guys know, I've been playing the hell out of NASCAR 25, so I don't see why I wouldn't buy 26 as well. I am a slut for those games. I am sorry, not sorry. Who can mention, how can you not mention GTA 6? We kind of talked about it. The episode didn't end up coming out, but how can you vote GTA 6 as the most anticipated game, for an entire decade? Like every year that game has basically won that award. I know it hasn't been nominated every single time, but if it was, it would have won. Ever since GTA 5 came out, GTA 6 has probably been the most anticipated game. Of course, yeah, if it finally gets announced, it's finally coming out, I'm going to be excited for it. But I'm not convinced it is coming out this year, for one. And for two, it's been over a decade. The team that made GTA 4, GTA 5, and all the GTAs prior to that, no one's sticking around. I mean, this is going to be a completely new team, so hopes are, high, but confidence is low, I feel like is safe to say with a lot of people in GTA 6. It's when you take all the people that built up this franchise, they're all gone, retired, moved on to, other projects. Rockstar's had a rocky past. We're probably going to mention GTA 6. We'll probably do an episode about the Grand Theft Auto franchise and Rockstar at some point, closer to, if there's an actual hard release date that they are sticking with and it's coming up. But Rockstar hasn't been perfect as of late, so there's a little bit of worry there. Some games you guys didn't mention that, here's one for Benji. There's a lot of rumors going around that they're going to, just cold turkey drop a Fallout 3 or Fallout New Vegas remaster, potentially. So, if that comes out, if that comes out, dude, so. I'm buying that immediately. Yes, sir. I think that goes without saying.
Both those games are fucking amazing.
I would say, this is kind of a crazy bet, right? But we're talking about, crazy predictions for the year. I think a just blind drop of either a Fallout 3 or Fallout New Vegas, or both, I think that's more of a possibility than GTA 6 coming out this year. I think it's coming out next year. Something about 2027 just kind of sounds right with GTA 6. I don't know why. I could be wrong. It could be a complete bad call on my part. I don't know. I've been pretty good with my feelings as of late with predictions and stuff. I predicted the last Madden covers. I'm shocked about that. So I'm on a roll here with some predictions, games and stuff. I think everyone predicted the last GTA delay. I don't think, that's anything special to gloat about, but obviously, I felt the same way then. Other than that, I mean, there are a lot of games that are supposedly coming out this year, but they don't have a hard release date. So it's kind of hard to say I'm excited for it. I'm not a big Forza guy. I know I've mentioned I'm a big NASCAR guy, but Forza Horizon 6 coming out, taking place in Japan, that could be cool. That could be a fun game.
Well, and it's funny you mentioned, like, games that have, like, hard release dates or whatever. There is not a lot of games that I've seen, like, that I'm anticipating coming out that are actually going to be coming out anytime soon. A lot of these games that, or they don't really have specific release dates attached to them yet. There's a lot of I've noticed an uptrend with game releases recently or game announcements recently, where they're just announcing these things so advanced in time that they're taking after, like, Elder Scrolls 6, where they announced it and they hadn't even started work on it yet. There wasn't even a president of, like, publishing. There wasn't anything to do with anything built around the game yet, and they're pushing I feel like they're pushing this kind of stuff out there so early right now, and I hope that trend kind of goes away, because I'm kind of getting tired of, like, I hear about this really kick-ass game and then it gets lost in the cycle, because you don't hear anything about it for years.
No, that's absolutely fair. Yeah, games are getting announced, half a decade ahead of their release date, which I don't, because you get hyped. You're like, oh, cool, there's a new Fable in the works. 8 years later, right? And that's another game. I am actually excited for Fable. I was getting ready to say that. I don't know if that has a hard date or not. But Fable, the Fable franchise is probably one of my favorite of all time. Fable 3 is probably top 10 favorite game of all time for me. Once again, controversy, a whole new team. There's probably, I don't think there's a lot of people from Fable 3. I mean, it's been over a decade since Fable 3 launched. I don't think a lot of people are still there, right? People that made Fable 3, one of my favorite games of all time, I don't think they're making this Fable. So there's a little bit of concern, but it looks good. I think it could be fun. I think you have to go out of your way to ruin the Fable franchise. If you played Fable, it's a Fable. It's not supposed to be realistic. It's supposed to be fun, goofy jokes. They have a lot of dirty jokes. A lot of just kind of the player can do their own thing. If you've ever played Fable, you can be a male or female. You can marry whoever you want, have kids with whoever you want. You can have like 1,000 kids, STDs, and and then the loading screens.
They'll call you fat.
Oh yeah. So when you eat food for like health, if you're in battle, it regenerates your health. But if you eat too much food, you get fat, and then you're slow, and it makes battle hard. That's funny as hell walking around as this just 350-pound man.
Because towns will literally label you as fat.
Yeah, they'll make fun of you. People will love you, hate you. You can buy up pretty much all the properties and maximize the rent, so people are just mad at you, but you're raking in the dough. There's a lot. Like, Fable's a fun game. It's hard to mess it up. So I am looking forward to Fable. I know some other ones that have been announced. 007 First Light could be fun, as well as Wolverine. Marvel's Wolverine was announced, right? Yeah, Marvel's Wolverine was announced and is supposedly coming out this year, as far as I know. That could be a good game because from what I understand, it could be similar. Superhero games are weird, right? Because they're either really, really good or really, really bad. Spider-Man for the PlayStation, very, very good. And from my understanding, this is going to be like the Wolverine's equivalent to the Spider-Man game. It should be good. It should operate well. I guess we'll see. I could be wrong about that. That's just kind of how I am seeing it. I don't know about you guys, but...
Yeah, I don't know if that one actually has a release date attached to it, like you were saying. I don't think they announced a release date. There's actually some kind of like disturbance around that game actually too right now, because they, like you were saying, it's not the same people that made the original one or the first two or three, right? Because there's a third one in there.
Yeah, Fable 3
or is this the third?
This will be, I guess, technically the fourth main game. There's some other Fables.
Okay. But anyways, a lot of people, they very noticeably did not have a male character set up yet in the trailer. And so the male character that they show off as because they created 2 trailers so far. In the first one, they mentioned that the fact that like you were only going to be able to play as a female, and they got a bunch of backlash for it. And then they finally announced and updated that they were going to add like a male character, like a male playable character to the game. And they noticeably in the second trailer they released updated to show that they had a male in the game that was playable, had not rigged it to a male walking animation, so it still looked like you were a girl because you were walking like a petite woman.
I've seen the stuff on that, but I think it's still a work in progress. I think it's going to be similar to the Sonic movie where they kind of got bullied into it. But I think it's for the better. You look at the Sonic movie, it would have flopped if they would have stuck with it, not delayed it. Fable...
Well, exactly.
Could they have delayed it a little bit?
Fable's always been about choice.
Exactly, yeah. And every Fable ever, you've been, had the choice to be male and female and kind of choose your own path. And once again, I said, as long as they stick with it, it's hard to screw up Fable. I know you could say that about a lot of games, like Grand Theft Auto. In theory, it should be hard to screw up that game. You just make a game, a city, you let people go run over people in cars, right? Like, that's kind of the whole concept. Yep. It's hard to ruin that. It really is. I know the expectations are high. Boy, it is possible. If they change the core of the game, if it just... that's a conversation we should have in the future about some of these games, maybe Grand Theft Auto and whatnot. But I am looking forward to Fable. I have faith, right? Xbox has flopped pretty hard, I think, as of late. I think in their terms, they've hit their numbers and, they're satisfied with it, but I think they could have done so much better on a lot of these games, both the numbers and just quality of game. We were talking about in a previous episode, how many Xbox exclusives have there been since 2020? You could probably count it on one hand. Not like AAA exclusives, not indie. I know they have a lot of those. There's not many. There are not a lot of AAA Xbox exclusives, and the ones that have come out are forgettable. Name them. Go ahead. I probably get like
Crickets.
a couple. Yeah, one or two. Not memorable at all. But with that, all right, we got our most anticipated games. What are some crazy off the wall predictions you have? Like stuff that have not been announced, no news about. Just I'll start it off. Do you think we see a new Halo this year? Could that be enough? Last Halo was 2020.
Maybe some more news about the new Halo campaign Evolved that they were releasing, the new Halo that's coming out that doesn't have multiplayer.
So I could see some more news about that. Yeah, just Halo's been quiet. That is getting back into the Xbox, franchises, Xbox exclusives. That is probably one of the biggest Xbox exclusives left, and yet it's been dormant, nothing for years. I think we hear news about
Yeah.
it potentially. What about a remaster too? I know Xbox is, the Master Chief Collection, and they've been pretty good about backwards compatibility. But does Halo 1, Halo 2, do they ever get a rework or a remaster or anything?
They kind of did a little bit with the MCC, but like I don't think we're gonna see anything on that level for a long time. The Halo campaign Evolved is going to be a complete remake of the original game,
Oh, okay.
Halo Combat Evolved. So we are going to see that. That's the one I was talking about. That it was the first game to revolutionize multiplayer first-person shooters and stuff, and they are noticeably not adding the multiplayer to that game. Why they're doing that, what decision they made for that, I don't know. Halo Studios or whatever, 343, whatever the hell you want to call them, they rebranded and named themselves Halo, and then have done nothing for the past 4 years since their rebrand to focus on the series. That's kind of just my quick and dirty on the situation with Halo.
That is true. I actually have not been as up to date with this new Halo game. I definitely does not have a release date or has been hinted at releasing this year. But we're early in the year. Maybe they come out and, hey, they're going to drop November or something. That could happen. I could see that one happening. But yeah, the fact they're not doing multiplayer, that kind of shocks me too. But I guess I don't know how. I guess that's a whole other tangent. It depends on how well they would remake that multiplayer. Because if they don't do it right, yeah, it would be a flop immediately. I don't think that multiplayer would hold up well long term today. I don't know.
Well, I think Halo as a genre or as a franchise has really suffered as of late. This last year in 2025, we just saw the last Halo HCS, which is the World Championship for Halo multiplayer gaming. That is done. Like they closed up shop. They did the last championship, and it went to Moist Critical's esports team
Oh wow.
that he has. So
Yeah,
they won it, which is awesome. But it was the last one for the foreseeable future, unless it comes back
bittersweet
in a
then.
miracle.
Yeah, bittersweet because I've been out of esports since probably 2021, so yeah, I haven't followed a ton of that stuff. But yeah, if they're packing up shop for esports, and I mean no news on the game, and the Halo TV show is really unanimously god awful. If you're a Halo fan, if you've never played a Halo game in your life and you're like, oh wow, the Halo TV series, you probably liked it. But if you play Halo games, you're probably like, yeah, that was terrible. That was absolutely god awful.
Master Cheeks.
Yeah, that was something. But getting off the Halo tangent, yeah, I think we could possibly see a Halo release late this year, if not maybe early next year. I think Halo historically is released early in the year, so it may be in early 2027. But I think there's going to be an announcement soon. Xbox has to have another exclusive on the horizon. I mean, they've had nothing recently, so
Well, I mean, for me, I don't know. Maybe Benji can say something about this too. But everything I've seen from Xbox recently, every single commercial that they've been pushing out recently, or piece of advertisement that they've been putting out, has been, oh, this is an Xbox, this is an Xbox, this is an Xbox, and it's like a smartphone, a TV screen, a smart TV screen, a Nintendo Switch, your freaking
Xbox
fridge
refrigerator.
yeah, your
Yeah.
fridge smart screen, it's all an Xbox. You can play Xbox games on it. That's the whole thing that they've been pushing. I don't think they're in it to win it anymore. I think they've left the gaming space and they don't really care. At this point, I think they're just peddling all of their franchises and Microsoft's just looking to cash in on the extra audiences at this point. They don't care. I think they're totally creatively bankrupt at this point. And that's why we've seen a lot of these series stagnates, like any Gears of War, anything. The last time we saw anything Gears of War was supposedly this new one that's supposed to come out. I think it's the origin of why the main character was in jail in the first game. What led up to him being in jail? Oh, E-Day. It was E-Day. Gears of War E-Day. I don't
feel
think
kind
we've
of
heard anything about that.
I feel kind of bad because I thought this would be a fun topic, but I couldn't really think. I was trying to like deep dive and think like, all right, what games are due, right? What games are due for an announcement, due for release? That's a hard question because there's so many companies like Xbox, like you just mentioned, but even Nintendo and Sony have a lot of franchises that they are just sitting on. I mean, there are franchises that could release cold turkey any minute, right? Especially Sony. I feel like Sony's the worst at having all these IPs and just doing nothing with them. The Infamous series, right? That's going to be a big one. That's something they haven't touched in ages. Finally, Sony announced the remaster of God of War. God of War just finally got announced they're going to have a remaster. So that's something that's kind of what we've been asking for, right? That's another franchise that they've just been sitting on and doing nothing forever. So that's a start. I beef with Ubisoft all the time, but what about them? Because as of right now, they really don't have anything, I think, confirmed, or at least with a hard release date here in 2026. Obviously, some rumored releases were Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time remake. Didn't I hear about that one getting delayed though? Because Ubisoft just did like a complete rework or layoff. They laid off a bunch of people, closed some studios.
Well, and I realize I'm being kind of depressing right now, but like the thing is a lot of the things we've like touched on and whatnot, they're kind of almost depressing scenarios right now. There's a depressing side of gaming right now, and then there's the side that currently we're in the biggest indie boom like we've seen. Like every indie game, it's almost every other indie game that hits the market right now is like just booming, and it's really good. And they have it. It's like it's, I wouldn't say a minimal effort game, but like it's not like these AAA property games where they've got like next gen graphics or whatever, but like you can tell that there's care put into them and people cared. They made a fun game, and it's not shoving anything down your throat or anything like that. But like, and that's the two sides of the coin that we have right now. Is you've got these sides of these franchises that we've loved for nigh on 20 years that made our childhoods, made gaming big in the public space.
Yeah,
and then are shitting the bed now because they've gone creatively bankrupt. They don't know what to do with these properties anymore besides remaster the old games.
Yeah, I was actually going to touch on indie games here in a little bit. So looking it up, unfortunately, yeah, the Prince of Persia: Sands of Time remake was canceled in the reworks. I thought I heard something about that. I just confirmed it. Yeah, January 21st, they canceled it. That absolutely hurts. However, one prediction I said, Ubisoft, could they have anything? I know they have a lot of reworks and stuff going on, but you got to think Ubisoft has to have something to stay afloat, and their big four are probably always going to be Assassin's Creed, Watch Dogs, Tom Clancy, and Far Cry. And I do think Far Cry 7 comes out late 2026. I do not see a year where Ubisoft does not have a major release. And Tom Clancy's kind of hit or miss because the Division 3 is also in the works. Supposedly there's a new Ghost Recon in the works. So do they do like a Tom Clancy Ghost Recon or Tom Clancy Division? Which one comes out first? I do not know, but I haven't heard of either of those getting canceled. So there could be two major Ubisoft releases this year. It wouldn't shock me to see a Ghost Recon and Far Cry 7 launch this year, and maybe a Tom Clancy Division next year. And maybe another Assassin's Creed in a year. They've been pumping out Assassin's Creed about every 2 to 3 years. We're not here to talk whether or not they're successful, just here to talk crazy predictions for the year. So that, months from now, if Far Cry 7 gets announced that it's coming out this year, I can be like, I told you so. I think those are realistic. Whether or not they're going to be good and popular and we play them, that's a whole nother conversation. I like the Far Cry series. I may give it a shot. We will see. But I'm just trying to think any other. Here's a crazy one to think about too. Call of Duty. Do you think Call of Duty does anything different this year? I feel like this is an easy answer, but
They fall off this year completely. They go
Well,
bankrupt.
that's the thing is like I've heard that people actually do love Black Ops 7 and that they with the annex like getting rid of skill-based matchmaking, they actually did something that people wanted for once, and it was actually a change that people actually did like it. I'm sorry, I don't care for Call of Duty anymore. Like people are just too fast. It's too fast paced for me. Um, I don't. I would rather just sit around and play ranked CS:GO and want to gouge my eyes out than or play War Thunder and want to gouge my eyes out because I got shot by a Russian tank for the umpteen millionth time, than play Call of Duty because I actually find War Thunder and CS:GO fun to play, especially with friends. So, but I don't have any friends that find COD enjoyable anymore. I don't find it enjoyable anymore. I don't. For me personally, I don't see a future with it for myself. If I go back, I'm gonna go back and play Black Ops 2 and or Black Ops 3 and play zombies because I think that's the best version of zombies just for the modded maps or whatever that you can get off of Steam. That's the only type of like any sort of Call of Duty I play anymore is Black Ops 3 modded zombies.
I'm with you on COD. I definitely prefer the older ones. I think we should do a COD deep dive one of these days where we just go in, game by game and just kind of talk about every, aspect about it. There's so much with COD. I don't think they're going to change a lot. Well, yes, of course it's Call of Duty. They're going to have a fan base every year. I think it goes without saying that was Call of Duty Black Ops 7, probably the least popular game in quite some time. Call of Duty's been dominating the charts pretty much every year. Every year it'll be one of the top multiplayers. Every year it'll be one of the most streamed. The videos, all this stuff, it really didn't carry a whole lot of that. It had some stiff competition. I think Battlefield was a little bit more popular in the multiplayer game than Call of Duty Black Ops 7. It was just something new. Black Ops 7, that's a lot of and especially back-to-back Black Ops. Black Ops 6, Black Ops 7, back-to-back years. It just felt lazy. But not only that, you had Arc Raiders.
Oh, Arc Raiders.
Arc Raiders came out this year, towards the end of the year, right around Call of Duty, and I really stole the player base from both Battlefield and Call of Duty, among others.
That game has stolen the show so far, and I think it's massively because of Peanut. But honestly, the game itself stands on its own two legs, even without Peanut. I think it's really fun. I wish my computer could handle it.
I actually thought of another game that I think should release 2026 that I would be absolutely excited for. If you guys like Civilization, I know you do. You got to play Tropico with me. Tropico is a very, very fun game. Tropico 7, I think, will release this year. I think it's rumored to. I don't think it has an official day, but there is an announcement trailer for it.
Definitely have to try it. I have never tried any of the Tropico games.
Tropico, I don't want to get too off topic here, but Tropico, they sit you on a little island, and it's kind of like a city builder, like SimCity meets Civilization in a way. You can't really expand off the island, but people will invade your island, like America or the USSR, and you got to fend them off. Like you'll go through World War II, and you can join the Axis or the Allies, and you can build up your forces and defend off the Americans or the Germans, and it's kind of a goofy game where you're El Presidente is what they call him, your leader. You can assassinate citizens. You'll have uprising. You'll have
good God.
Yeah, you'll have like groups form on your island, like environmentalists. And if you just pump coal and do everything you can to piss them off, they will form an armada and try to overthrow you. And it's kind of this funny SimCity meets Civ thing. Like I said, it's a lot of fun. It's really goofy. You can play with friends. You can have multiple people on an island and build your own cities. And I think you can even go to war with each other, if I remember correctly. But you could be a team, too. It's a funny... I think you guys would like that. But Tropico 7, add that to my I'm excited for this year. And I think that one gets announced. A release date gets announced. I think it comes out this year for sure. But my last idea here, I'm just kind of spitballing as I'm thinking of stuff. Nintendo. We haven't talked about Nintendo at all for potential releases. Some big things. Obviously, there's going to be a Mario. I think there's already a Yoshi game announced for this year. What about? Do you think possibly Pokemon? I know they've haven't been the best games, but do you think a Pokemon game gets announced? Or I don't think so. I think it's a little too soon. I think Zelda is more of an every 5-ish, maybe 6-year, 7-year release.
They
but
have a
could Zelda?
they have a sorry, go on.
I was just gonna say, could Zelda come out this year? Could there be like a surprise Zelda late in the year?
They have
I
another
don't think.
Zelda game coming out.
Or is it kind of, you know how they do like the smaller Zelda games, kind of like the cartoony? Gosh dang it, what was it called? There's like Zelda Hyrule. Oh gosh, I'm drawing a blank on it. I like Hyrule something, and it was kind of more of a cartoon.
The Hyrule Warriors.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
It wasn't like a Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, like a big, full-on Zelda release. Do you know if the one you're talking about is like that, or like one of the major ones?
It's pretty much like a side story to both Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild.
Okay.
They did it for Breath of the Wild, which was the first one. They had Hyrule Warriors. It was supposed to be like some backstory context to leading up to the first game. And I think now they are releasing what is like, I believe also I think like a kind of like a prologue version of the game for Tears of the Kingdom. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't played Tears of the Kingdom and caught up with the whole story for that, so I don't know exactly where it's at with that. But I'm assuming that's what they're doing with this next game.
I
It's
think
supposed to be pretty much like a prologue.
Yeah, I think that gets announced this year. I think that comes out this year then. It may not be a full-on Zelda, because I think you're right. I think like full-on Zelda comes out 2016, right? Or 2017. I think Breath of the Wild was 2017. 3 years later, they do a smaller game, not necessarily the full one. 3 more years later, they do Tears of the Kingdom. So now we're, 3 years later, 2023 was Tears of the Kingdom. 2026, 3 years later, there's probably going to be like a smaller Zelda game. I think that's reasonable. Whether or not, once again, we're just predictions, bold predictions, crazy predictions. Whether or not it's a good game, that's another conversation. Could be. Zelda, we've talked a lot of shit about Nintendo, but I feel like Zelda's been the one IP that they've really held close to their chest, and they've done a good job at. They're not willing, like Pokemon, I feel like anyone that plays Pokemon can say it's sloppy, it's lazy, it's not.
They had a good thing going with they had a spin-off game called what the hell was it? Pokemon Arceus, and it was pretty much like open world Pokemon. So
Yeah.
you just go around and just, fight high level Pokemon with your level 1 fucking Pikachu, and it was fun. A lot of people loved it, and then they go back to their normal, copy and paste Pokemon games, and they're just not that fun. But I know Arceus was doing really, really good, and just like you said, Spence, the whole Legend of Zelda series, since they've been taking their time with it. I mean, they've always taken their time with the Legend of Zelda series, but doing the same thing, making it a giant, vastly open world, the way they did it for 2017, and then just like greatly improving upon that for Tears of the Kingdom. Best thing ever. Like I love Breath of the Wild. Have not played Tears of the Kingdom yet. Just had no chance for an open world game like that. They've been, I mean, that's their only main titles going on right now, like their main ones. But they've been locking down on it, and it's been good. I like it. I like the direction they're going with it.
I didn't explain it the best way, because what you said is kind of more of it. 2017 Breath of the Wild comes out. 3 years later, it's Hyrule Warriors. Now they've fit in a couple of remakes and remasters as well, so it's not just every 3 years. There's a couple, more games in that. But it does seem like every 3 years they kind of have a bigger entry versus just a remaster. But I think, yeah, that could be something. Of course, cookie cutter Mario, like we mentioned. Here's another, I don't want to stay on Pokemon for too long, but we haven't talked Nintendo at all. Could Pokemon, the people that make Pokemon, Nintendo, all those people get together, see the success that Palworld has had, not just with the Palworld game, but the Palworld, this is a game I'm looking forward to. I think it's coming out this year. There's a Palworld farming game that was announced. Could they see the success? Obviously, Nintendo's not going to add guns and let you enslave your Pokemon to be, workers and stuff, but could they maybe change gear from like just a cookie cutter copy and paste Pokemon game to more of maybe a builder or farm, like almost maybe Animal Crossing-ish style? Animal Crossing's another Nintendo IP. Actually, Here's one for you. Could Animal Crossing drop this year? Last Animal Crossing was 2020. That is 6 years. That is getting due for another game to be announced. So that's a two-parter: Pokemon and then Animal Crossing.
I don't think you're wrong. I think we could possibly see something like that announced this year. I think there's a multitude. Obviously, there's so many different options and stuff for things that could be coming out and whatnot. But I think you're right when you say that like there's all these different franchises that we haven't seen stuff from in years at this point, and I think people are aching for some of these to get announced. So I don't think it's wrong to suspect that we might see something from a lot of these franchises this year,
I think Nintendo
and I
needs
certainly
it.
hope that we do.
I do. I think Nintendo needs it. I feel as if they've been relatively sloppy recently. I feel like it's depends how you feel about like recent games, like the Donkey Kong game that came out last year. We're kind of talking about it in the Game of the Year awards conversation. Obviously, that episode's not up right now, but yeah, it was somewhat popular. But it wasn't a Tears of the Kingdom. It wasn't a Animal Crossing New Horizons. I mean, games that just blew up. Animal Crossing New Horizons, still one of the most popular games on the Nintendo Switch. They didn't really have that last year, and there's nothing announced this year that I don't know. I think we see something like that. But moving on, we are taking a little bit longer as per usual. We're getting good at that, man. It's me. I'm the one rambling, but a lot of good ideas and stuff. Going back to what Judd said, Judd was kind of talking about the indie game there for a little bit. I want to say, first off, what a great year we had in 2025 when it came to the indie scene. I think arguably since 2020, I think the indie scene has been phenomenal. Every single year, indie games have been giving AAA games a run for their money. 2025 is probably the biggest case of that, though. Just naming some games that came out since 2020. I mean, you think, go back to 2020, right? COVID, we're all stuck inside. Two games that come to mind, massive games, one of them more so than the other, Among Us. Huge, massive game. Fall Guys blew up too. I mean, I know that not necessarily an indie game, but it was a smaller. It wasn't like a major release, a massive game. Fall Guys just a little goofy parkour battle royale style game. It was just, but it was huge. It blew up for several months. Since then, you got to think all the games that are made by smaller companies, not massive releases, is what I'm getting at. There's a lot of them are indie. Repo, Helldivers 2, not a massive team. Lethal Company, Schedule 1 is blown up. Palworld, we've been talking about. Hades 1 and 2. Expedition 33, Clair Obscur, just one game of the year. Valheim, one of your guys' games. That came out 2020, if I'm not mistaken. Cult of the
Yes, sir.
Lamb, very popular. Hollow Knight Silk Song. No, I think Hollow Knight, the original, was a little bit before 2020. But, I mean, these are games that are giving AAA a run for their money that we've gotten here in the last 5 years. If you Google indie games released in blank year, any year since 2020, any year, 2020, 2021, insert it. You're going to get over 50 results of pretty much all quality indie games. Pretty much every, I mean, it's going to be 50 plus, and every single one of them you've probably heard of. You're like, oh yeah, that's not bad. And the crazy thing is, and we've talked about it time and time again, they are dog shit cheap. I mean, you could probably buy all 50 of those indie games and break even with like the top 10 major releases of the year. That's nuts. I mean, it depends. Some of these indie games are, $50, 30, 40, but still, a lot of them are $10, $20, man, $15. That is absolutely bonkers. Astrobot and Clair Obscur, two games, not massive. They're not made by, I know Astrobot's made by Sony, a company from Sony, but they're not massive games. Those are your last two Game of the Year winners. It's not a Far Cry. It's not an Assassin's Creed. It's not one of these, massive releases. We are in for a record year in gaming. If we're coming off, I think, one of the best years in indie, I mean, it's been better and better and better every single year since 2020, really even before then. But I think AAA is officially in a place where they see the writing on the wall. They know there's a lot of competition out there. They're not just going to be able to release their cookie cutter games at a full $70 price tag. They're probably going to be able to meet baseline quotas, but they're not going to be remembered. They're very forgettable games. Like we were just talking about earlier, a game none of us has ever heard of until it dropped. I don't think anybody heard of this game until it dropped. This game's 2 weeks old. Mugenics, probably 1 million copies sold by now. No one heard of it. How long? I mean, that's rivaling, if I can talk, Assassin's Creed. I mean, it's getting up to the point where Assassin's Creed, didn't hit 1 million copies sold in a couple of days, like Mugenics possibly did. I'm waiting to hear numbers, of course. That's nuts, dude. If you are not to be mean, but if it's a company that no one's ever heard of, a nobody company, you got absolutely no fan base, no advertising, right? No hype around it. You just drop a game, people see it on the new releases on Steam, click on it. Wow, this is a fun game. Clips, TikToks, live streams. All of a sudden, this game has 1 million copies in a week. That's nuts. That is absolutely. While Assassin's Creed, half a decade, possibly more in development, millions of dollars in advertising, a massive name like Ubisoft that that name alone should carry its own advertising, and it can't sell 1 million copies in a week. Or I mean, Assassin's Creed probably did. Once again, they're not super clear about the number, but the fact that indie games can rival AAA at half the cost at such a smaller development, it's insane. I think what I'm getting at, I know I'm rambling, I think AAA changes. It's been downhill. We're seeing Ubisoft completely revamp the company. We're seeing a lot of people like Sony. I feel like they've done some reworking. I feel like Capcom has kind of turned it around as well. I feel like a lot of these companies, Nintendo, I think will very soon, because I think they've seen how mediocre their releases have been. I don't think Xbox is quite there yet. I think they got a little bit more flopping to do. We'll see about Fable and if they announce anything else, but I think AAA turns it around here. I think they have to. They've just been bad, and truthfully, I think Indy's been winning. I'll stop rambling. I'll let you guys add your 2 cents to that. But
no, I just honestly think you're correct. I don't think there's really too much else to say there. Like, I've been loving most of the indie games that come out. Like a lot of them are like not my taste and whatnot, but that doesn't really matter, because I can see the passion and care that are put behind them compared to these soulless husks of like AAA games that come out. And it's just something that you can very obviously see, is that these people care for these games, and they show that very passionately, and I appreciate that about these games and stuff that are coming out. It makes it enjoyable to play these games, because you can see that the companies, or not even companies, just the people that make these games do care. They care very, very, very much about these games that they're making, and their passion projects for them. And it's all about the fact that they do care.
well,
You guys said, but in my words.
I got a crazy question for you. So I think it's fair to say Nintendo, Sony, and Xbox all been kind of lazy, right? They've just been kind of complacent. I think complacent's a good word. They're not releasing just straight up terrible games, but they are very cookie cutter. I feel like they're not pushing the boundaries like they used to back in the early 2000s and the early 2010s. I mean, these companies were at each other's throats, just dropping the best game, pushing the boundaries in gaming, to get an edge on each other. And I feel like they all let off the throttle a little bit. And recently they're just like, all right, we got a bunch of IPs, and they haven't been taking it to the next level. They've just kind of settled. Do you think, do any of them turn it around and, kind of put their foot on the gas again and start releasing some bangers where we're like, holy shit, this is, the next level in gaming? And if so, which company do you think makes that leap first? I kind of have my feeling, but
yeah, I mean, I don't think you're wrong.
and
I'd have to think about it.
I don't want to imply that like these companies have just been straight up dog shit. Like, each company has had great games. They're just not as often, I feel like, as they once were. Like, Sony may have an incredible like Hall of Fame game, once every other year. Like Astrobot, I feel like that fits as a great example. I feel like Astrobot, phenomenal game. Last of Us, right? Phenomenal game. Last of Us Part 2, a lot of people love that one. A little less than maybe the first one. They've kind of been surviving off that. That's a whole other thing. But a lot of these other releases, Ghosts of Yotei and Death Stranding 2 just released last year. And while they aren't bad games, I'm not saying they are. It doesn't feel like they took it to the next level. I don't think it lived up to the massive hype that they could have, or that games in Sony's past have. I don't know if I'm explaining what I'm thinking right, but like we were talking Zelda, Zelda in 2023, that's fairly recent. Phenomenal game. Actually, didn't it win Game of the Year? Or I think it was, I don't think it won Game of the Year, but it was a nominee. Great game. Not trying to shit on the game, but if Zelda, they're only releasing a game every other year. I mean, they used to release multiple games a year. back in the early 2000s
Yeah.
and 2010s. Like I said, they took their foot off the gas, not necessarily they're just all bad just across the board. It's just less
Well,
common.
and the funny thing is it an overextension? Are there too many games controlled by these AAA companies now that have servers that they run and they have to constantly update? Are they spread too thin? I don't think that's something I've actually heard anybody talk about either. Are these companies just massively overextended because they have to dedicate resources to these games that you know, people haven't really like they still have massive player bases, but they don't have enough people focused on new games coming out to do anything.
I think you're onto something there, and I'm going to raise it to the next level too. I'm saying massive releases, right? I don't think it's reasonable to ask a company like Sony or Xbox or Ubisoft or anybody out there to do annual massive releases. I don't think that's possible. I think you're spreading yourself too thin. So, what if we have an Assassin's Creed every, 4 years? While, Assassin's Creed's good, let's say next year, I know this is unreasonable, but next year's the next big Assassin's Creed, right? Let's say that drops. Okay, that's the big one for Ubisoft, right? Put all your time and effort in that. That has to be a hit. Why aren't they releasing 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? And they are. This is true. Ubisoft has a lot of IPs, a lot of smaller IPs. They're just kind of forgettable. But why aren't they releasing, I think games that could rival the indie scene? Like, why aren't they releasing fun little, focusing a lot more time and effort into just smaller games? Games that don't have, a $200 million budget, games that aren't, 80 hours of story and a massive open world. Why aren't they kind of pushing that boundary of the fun party games? Or, why aren't, Ubisoft or these companies kind of getting back into friend slap, which has absolutely been dominated by the indie scene?
Are we there yet? Peak,
Peak's one I didn't
pick
even
it, you
mention.
name it.
Yeah, that's another one. I mean, I feel like if Ubisoft, Xbox, Sony, and Nintendo, and they are. I'm not saying they're not. It's just they haven't been doing as well in this genre. Well, they haven't been doing super well in any genre, but I don't know why they're not putting out multiple friend slap games or, little smaller games each year. Smaller studios, they're always trying to strive for that massive number one hit. Has to be the biggest game ever, the $300 million. But they still need those games. That's what AAA is for. But, don't put all your effort into a massive release every single release. And I know that's a bad example because if you look up Ubisoft releases each year, there are a ton of small games, but you got to Google them. They're usually not super popular or very small groups. Like, I'm blanking on a couple of them, but games like Rocksmith or Trackmania or Steep are all Ubisoft games. But if those aren't your cup of tea, Steep's a snowboarding game, you've probably never heard of it. Actually, Steep's a really fun game. Trackmania is a pretty good game. It just wasn't as big, or I don't know. If they doubled down, I feel like instead of having an Assassin's Creed every 2-3 years, make it 5 years.
Push them out. Push the development cycle further. Don't make yourself beholden to these insane shareholders and stuff. I know that they have to put out product and whatnot because they are beholden to some sort of beholden to people that aren't that isn't the customer. But the thing is realistically that might be the issue.
Yeah, and I sound bad because I think they are going this direction. I think we're talking about something that's already in motion. Assassin's Creed, and they're getting there. I think it will come out in probably 4 more years, 3 more years. Assassin's Creed's tough. They pump out Assassin's Creed pretty quick. But Far Cry last released 2020. We're in 2026. That's 6 years. I think that's a good number. I like that.
That is.
Far Cry 6 I have my complaints with, but I think 6 years in between Far Cries, that's great. Grand Theft Auto, a little excessive. 15, 20 years is a little bit much. Watch Dogs, they were pumping those out back to back to back. Now it's been, almost half a decade. Actually, possibly even longer. I think that was 2020 as well. I think that's a good number. If you could stagger it, maybe Watch Dogs, or let's just start it over, talking about Ubisoft, because we always shit on them. We get a Far Cry this year, right? We got Assassin's Creed last year, Far Cry this year, maybe a Tom Clancy this year, or you could swap Tom Clancy this year, a major Tom Clancy the next year, Far Cry, and then you get into a Watch Dogs maybe, and then just have one major release each year. That way you're hitting that number. And if you can fit 2, if it makes sense, don't force it, don't go over the top. But have, 10, 20, 30 smaller to medium releases that they put a lot of time in, or not a lot of time in, but a lot of care for the community. Make games fun. Make them not $70. That's the problem with, I think, a lot of the games we just mentioned for Ubisoft, like Rocksmith and stuff. Steep, Trackmania, I think a lot of those games dropped at, full price $60-$70. It's hard to qualify it as, a smaller game or a medium-sized game if you're giving it a full price tag. I know there's caveats to that, Game Pass and stuff and all, like the EA, sorry, not EA. There's subscriptions and stuff, but I think that would be a successful format for a lot of people. I think, Sony and Xbox would thrive at that too, and they kind of are. You think the amount of small Xbox exclusives or indie games they pick up and stuff, but Nintendo's kind of there too. You think of games like Splatoon that are on Nintendo that aren't massive. Now, I'm pretty sure, once again, Splatoon carries a full price of probably $70. It's Nintendo.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's $60-$70. I'm looking at it right now. I think that's tough, right? I don't think Splatoon should ever be a $70 game. Yeah, Splatoon for the Switch is $60. Yeah, that's just bonkers, man. But yeah, if they did more games, like Splatoon was a popular game, if they focused on that, but $30 price tag, $40 price tag, I think they would have a lot of success, especially if they were to double or triple the amount of small to medium sized games they have. But with that, man, I've been rambling on. Benji might be asleep. We haven't heard from Benji in a long time.
I'm trying.
He's trying. Yeah, we'll wrap it up here. But with that, man, I think we're in for a great 2026, both indie and I think AAA turns it around, which is what I've been rambling about. We'll see if our predictions come to fruition, and hope for GTA 6. And it sounds like I'm much more excited for a lot more games than you guys, but that's okay.
I think it's mainly just because like a lot of the ones that are coming out are niche. It has nothing to do with me like hating on them or anything. It's more or less like there's a lot of niche games. I think we've come out of the era of these big franchise games almost, and we're seeing the rise of niche games because their gaming has cast such a wide net that these massive franchises to pop up again, they're going to have to make something new, innovative, and or just really good storylines and stuff that have staying power. But I think a lot of the focus is on these more singular games right now that might have some staying power. You might see a 2, and it just enhances the mechanics and stuff from the earlier release. But I generally don't see too much in the way of sticking to massive franchises. I think we're going to go towards the more niche market, and that's not a bad thing. I don't really think that's a bad thing, to be honest.
I think you nailed it.
I think niche is good, especially in the gaming world. You're gonna need niche to carry forward.
I think you nailed it. Yeah, that's something we didn't even talk about, and we'll have to bring up another time. Gaming is bigger than it's ever been. There are more gamers in 2026 than there were in 2016, and it's not even close. I mean, specifically COVID, I think quadrupled the gaming scene, and that obviously means there's more customers, and you can kind of go the more niche route, like you're talking. And I think you're 100% right there. And maybe you shouldn't be trying to do a game like Far Cry and make it for everybody. Maybe you should make it for a very specific community, and maybe that's what they're doing, and we just haven't seen that yet. And once again, 2026, that could be the route they're going, and it may work. We may respect the AAA a little bit more. That completely is different. That screws over everything we were just talking about. Don't have one major AAA release every year. Have 4, because you're going towards 4 different communities. And you want to make a AAA massive game for each one of these 4 different genres or communities, and because there's enough people in all these communities, because gaming's bigger than ever, and that could exactly be it. Maybe we're seeing it wrong, but no, I think you're right.
Totally. I really don't know what else to add on there.
I see. I saw where you're going. It could be. Yeah, I think that's a feat. I don't know if I trust companies like Ubisoft to be able to pull that off, but it could be what they were trying to do. And they just haven't admitted that yet. But I don't think that's exact. I don't think they were. I don't think they were, to be honest. That may be like a backfall. Like,
I think that's too much good faith.
I think it is, but it could be like maybe PlayStation and Xbox. The reason why they're dropping all these extremely different games that we don't like is maybe it's not for me. I mean, who knows? That's a conversation for another day. But with that, man, Benji, do you have anything? I know you've been quiet.
Repeat the question.
Yeah, he's out cold, dude. He's got to go outside in the dark back to his home from the scary gaming shed. So
I hear knocking outside the door.
Alrighty, man. We're gonna hope Benji doesn't get kidnapped on his way back inside. I hope you guys enjoyed, and we will catch you guys in the next one.
Bye. I love you.
Bye, guys.